Hey, it's Aaliyah, and I am back with another video. So, in the news, we are seeing that Trump is signing a lot of executive orders, and one of those executive orders will be about opening up school choice for parents, so allowing federal funding to be open so that parents can have more school choice. Simultaneously, I've also seen that parents are mad about test scores that showing that students are below reading levels. And so I'm here to talk about this as a former teacher, someone who worked in Title I schools and has a master in elementary education. I'm here to really talk to the parents because this is important for us. First things first, reading levels are low, math levels are low, and it's not all due to COVID. Something that I noticed when I was working in schools, and honestly, I still work in schools as a sub, so I still see it every day, is that children are no longer like actively reading books and being engaged with books. They are using a lot of technology where you can just kind of skim on a screen and click an answer, and it's not challenging, right? There is not a lot of pencil and paper anymore. Children are not writing anymore, and writing is a connection to reading, right? So if you don't know how to write and you don't know how to express yourself, how can you even read and understand what you're reading? And that is one of the biggest issues that I've been seeing in schools is comprehension. That children, students are not learning how to critically think in schools. They are being taught what to think and taught to a test. And when you teach to a test, you are not teaching a child to love how to learn to read or to love to learn, right? You are teaching them how to do something. That's totally different. You don't need to be taught critical thinking skills when I'm teaching you how to do something. And unfortunately, for a lot of these kids who are going to underfunded schools, these tests they don't have any connection to. These words they don't have any connection to. They haven't had experiences and opportunities to even understand. They don't have the background knowledge to even understand what's going on these tests. So teachers are literally teaching information that kids are not, it will never click and register in their brain. So we can't just blame it on COVID and because kids are out of school. No, kids are not connecting to written material anymore, to a textbook, to writing. Like they're just, it's not that in school anymore. They can barely type. Okay. So honestly, I would say the number one factor in why reading levels are so low is technology. Technology is taking over and it's just making it easier for kids to click and move on. And because it's not that hard to pass grades nowadays, the No Child Left Behind is really not leaving any child left behind and just passing them on. Right? That's what that No Child Left Behind actually means. I'm gonna just pass you on to the next grade, which is what really happened during COVID. A lot of kids weren't going to school, weren't signing in, weren't really doing the work, and they still were able to go to the next grade. And that happens even without COVID. Kids are still just getting pushed on to the next grade. I was a sixth grade teacher and had kids on kindergarten level, reading level. That child should have never made it to the sixth grade if they cannot even read. Okay, how do you make it to the sixth grade when you're still on the kindergarten level? Because they're getting passed on. And they make it so hard for kids to be retained. And parents have to agree for their child to be retained. And for some reason, parents are so embarrassed for their child to be retained that they don't want to allow their child to be retained. When that is what needs to happen with a lot of these kids. We're trying to go with based off of their age, they should be in this grade. No, based off of their comprehension and understanding and skill level, this is the grade that they need to be in. They are lowering grading standards so that they can, keep up with low performance, and that's just not how it should be. Also, kids are on YouTube and all these other things. Their brains are warped. Like all these things that they're watching, they can't get that stuff out of their heads. They come to school acting like TikTok stars and influencers. They talking about skibbity boo toilets and all type of stuff, and they are just their brains are not like thinking about what is going on in school. It's thinking about everything else, everything else. And so you have teachers competing with technology while they are still doing like old school traditional learning. You're making these kids sit down in desks all day, right? And that is just not what these kids want to do. I'm sorry, like schools have to evolve with the way that things are going, yes, but I'm not saying that you have to always be on technology, right? Like there are different ways to learn, and this is another video, but it's not all about just sitting down and teaching at a child and telling them that they need to retain this information. That way of teaching is so outdated, but you still see it in today's schools, right? So technology, outdated teaching, the classes are way too packed. Way too packed. My first year teaching, I had 30 kids in one classroom. And that's just way too many students. Kids can't even learn. Teachers can't even teach with that many students because with 30 kids, there's 30 different personalities, 30 different behaviors, way more than 30 different behaviors, right? And that is a lot to manage when it's only one teacher. There needs to be more than one teacher in the classrooms, probably three nowadays, so that kids can really get small groups and one-on-one learning. They want one teacher to do small groups with 30 children. How, Sway? How can you, like, how is a teacher able to meet all the needs of the students when it's over capacitized, the classroom, right? They really need to cut down on class sizes and increase how many teachers are in the classroom so that teachers don't feel alone and isolated. Because that's one thing that I would say that I would have loved is a co-teacher, even in sixth grade. You know, kids need more than one. You know, like it would have just ran better. I feel like if there was more than one teacher in the classroom. Of course, I could handle things, but that's a lot to handle on your own. And so, putting all that pressure on teachers to meet expectations of testing, to manage their classroom, to grade papers, and to come up with lesson plans, and it's a lot that they put on teachers. And that's one reason why I honestly stopped teaching. It wasn't because of the kids. I actually love kids and I love empowering kids and I love teaching kids other things besides math, science, and all that other stuff that they want kids to learn, to test them on, right? It wasn't that, it was all the other things, all the other pressures that they put on teaching that makes it not fun. And then you just get into the cycle of I'm just teaching for the test. You know, I'm just trying to teach for the test. And those are not the type of teachers that we need in classrooms. We need teachers that are going to wake up the spirits of children, to pour into them. And it's so sad because a lot of good teachers are leaving because they're not paying teachers enough. You're stressing these teachers out to the point of burnout. And then a teacher gotta wait until the end of the month to get a check that's barely paying their bills. You know, like don't get me wrong, benefits are great. Like you get health insurance, you get all those things, and that's great. But at the end of the day, you are working so hard Monday through Friday, night and day, because you care so much as a teacher, just to for policies to come out that don't regard you as a don't regard you as a teacher or an expert, right? For kids to come in and be disrespectful, for parents to not be supportive. Like it's a lot of things that teachers have to deal with on a day to day that goes beyond like helping children how to read, right? And so teachers need a little bit more appreciation. Teachers definitely should be paid more. I'm always going to advocate for that because I know how it is. I know how it is. And no one can ever tell me that a teacher does not deserve to get paid more because they definitely do, especially when we're teaching the next generation, y'all. But also, children do not go to school to learn, y'all. They go there for their friends. When you ask a child why they go to school, they go there because of friends, okay? They go there because of friends, not to learn. And I think that there needs to be more time, hear me out, more times for kids to socialize in school so they can just get it out and they can get to the learning. Because it's so funny that people always ask me as a homeschooling mom, well, what about socialization? Child, my daughter gets a lot of socialization. She talks to a lot of people. She talks to me, her dad, the community members, to her friends. She has people that she talks to. In school, it's not like that. They don't want you to be talking. You can talk at lunch sometimes, unless the kid has silent lunch or, recess, which is only about 30 minutes. There really isn't time in the school day for kids to kind of socialize. So they trying to sneak it and go to the bathroom and go here and be on their phones when they just need to let kids be kids sometimes in school. Allow them to socialize so that you can get to the learning. That schools need to start to focus more on being student centered. Yes, it's important if you want to if you really want to get these test scores in order. We got to start thinking about, what do children want? Okay, and children want to socialize and be with their friends, and that needs to be an open space in schools. School culture, it is just, it's like a prison. If you go into one of these Title I schools, and now, they're trying to do better, but the halls are white, right? Schools are not fun. And of course, for elementary kids, okay, it's going to be fun. But once they get to middle school and high school, kids lose their passion for learning. They lose the excitement of it. They just go into school to, like I said, be with their friends and to do whatever work they have to do so that they can go to the next grade. Literally, their light has been taken away, right? Like in elementary, you see kids, they light up, and they still have this light and they still want to learn. But as they get older, that light turns into anxiety and frustration and lack of confidence and doubt and fear. There's so much going on in schools, okay, that kids have to worry about, that it's not even about learning anymore, right? And so there's so much that I could say about schools, y'all. There is so much that go on in schools. Like seriously, so much, so much. There's so much that go on in schools that we can't just say it's because of COVID. No, we gotta go a little bit deeper. We gotta start really being real with ourselves. And as parents, it's important that we step up as parents and be that number one teacher in our child's lives. Because at the end of the day, parents play the most important role in their child's education. When you have an active parent that plays a role in their child's education, that is the number one successful, like, that is the way that your child can be successful in school, to have an active parent. And so that's why I really enjoy school choice, and that's why I'm homeschooling. I decided not to put my daughter in school because I don't want her to go through, first of all, some of the things that I went through. I experienced a lot of trauma in school. Second of all, I know that I can teach her way more and she can learn way more outside of school. And there's just so much that we can do. Like, I don't want her to, there's it's so much, it's just, I don't want her to learn the things that they're learning in school. I want her to have to just be free, and school is just not that. And so, um I I wholeheartedly agree with school choice. I think that parents need to know that they have choices and that there are so many different choices out there and ways that you can teach your children. A lot of micro schools are popping up. I'm even thinking about starting my own micro school, right? A lot of micro schools are popping up. There are private schools, and yes, these things may be expensive, but there are schools out there that are willing to work with you, right? You can start your own school. There are community schools. I know that it's a lot, but it's a sacrifice. And if you're willing to make it, it is definitely possible and it can happen. But also, you don't have to take your child out of school to teach them. You can just be an active role, right? Check in with their teachers, check in with your child, asking what they're learning. Instead of waiting on the school to do field trips and to organize field trips, take your child on field trips. Let them experience the world. Go and do things with them. Have conversations with them, check over their homework. Like, it's just little things that you can do to show that you care about your child's education that will motivate them more than anything. Children want to know that their parents care about the things that they're doing, right? It's just so many things that we can do as parents to play an active role in our child's education. It's just about, are we going to do it? You have to think of your child as an investment, and investing in that child, pouring in that child, doing the things that they're passionate about, letting them know that you are excited about the things that they're passionate about. It's possible, y'all. We don't always have to have money to do things. You just have to get creative with it. But it's so important that you know as a parent that yes, you do have options and you do have choices and you don't have to put your child in education. And this is for parents who do not want to put their children in public education, because for some parents, public education is just fine. Or honestly, you probably cannot, will not, won't teach your child at all. And that's why you have public education. But I'm here to say that you cannot leave it all up to public education. The teachers are not, they cannot, and they are, will not be teaching your child everything that they need to know. You definitely have to play that role as a parent and step in where the schools fail, where the schools are not doing what they, what they could be doing or what they, should be doing. So as parents, that is where you come in, right? And so, yes, you do have options. Their National School Choice Week is coming up for a lot of people. Go check that out. Go see what's in your what's in your communities. Who's starting schools? Who has a micro school? What charter schools are out there? Private schools, after school programs, whatever it is. Even just putting your child in an after school program can change the trajectory of their lives, right? I just seen an article where a little girl found some duck poop from being in an after school program that has cancer fighting bacteria in it. Now she's in the eighth grade and she's a part of a scientific journal, right? And will be a part of history. It's just those little things that you can do as a parent that can help your child in school. Is we have to bring education outside of school. School is not the only place where education happens. Learning happens everywhere. And that's why I'm homeschooling, because I want people to know that, learning happens everywhere. I want my daughter to know that. Learning doesn't just happen in school. You could be anywhere and everywhere and learn, you know? And here are some things that I do to teach my daughter, like for her reading. Because honestly and truly, yes, I'm focusing on reading skills, but I focus on comprehension before I focus on reading. Because at a certain age, yeah, you can know how to read, but do you understand what you're reading? And you can build comprehension skills at a young age just from talking to your child from the time that they're a baby, talking to them in a regular voice, not a baby talk, regular human talk, right? Regular talk, that can help them to start their reading journey and to be strong readers, right? But I definitely focus on comprehension and critical thinking skills. I'm always asking my daughter questions. When I read a book to her, I'm asking her about the pictures. I'm asking her about what we read. I'm asking her questions about the book. That is how you build critical thinking skills. We read all types of books. We watch videos, and I'm asking her questions about the videos. Like, play that role as a parent, that active role in their education. I also, I take a thesaurus every morning. I take a thesaurus. I say it's a magic book, and we go over words, y'all. You have to play that role so that your child is another statistic. That's somebody that's going, in eighth grade that can't read. That's not on reading level. You don't want that for your child. Nobody does, right? But if we had the children, we have to be the ones to take responsibility for our child's education. Not anybody, not Trump, not Obama, not Biden, not nobody but us. We are responsible for our child's education. So look into school choice so that your child isn't one of these statistics where they can't read, right? We all know that that's not good if you can't read. You need to know how to read. Reading is an important skill. So what can we do as parents to help these statistics, right? Think about that.